Shut up, compressor. Okay, so let's do the first round of weathering on the gear base. Now, just like with cockpits and hard to see areas and things like that, I prefer to start light and then add dark on top. The aqua gloss wash is an exception to build up contrast that will hopefully stick around through oils, or in this case, some Guns Mr. Weathering color. This is basically like a super thin enamel. It's the easiest way to think of it. Again, kind of like with the interior, I'm sort of doing bastardized weathering with this. It's not anything super fancy. And I am going to adjust the camera real fast. Okay, there we go. So basically get a little bit on here. Yes, I'm working barehanded, sue me. Basically what we do is we just dab this shit all over the place. This is going to essentially act as localized grunge. If you've got a nasty B-17 that's been salvaged and kind of rebuilt, been flying off some maybe not the greatest airstrips. Ground crew's been focused on just keeping the damn things flying. Whatever headcanon you want. Okay. Then we simply come in with a Deerfoot stippler. I love this brush for this kind of weathering. And we literally just stipple. Short stabby motions. That is literally all there is to it. I think I might take a little bit off this thing. And so that one is good. We'll kick that one out of the way. Get to work on some of the others. Now another thing about these is it's important to remember which side is up and which side is kind of facing down and out. And on these it's this area here is the lower end of the gear bay. So everything we're doing is going to kind of look like this when all is said and done. You won't have much of a view of these sides. I'm also thinking it's pretty stupid to have this over here when I'm right-handed. You can see it's keeping that nice level of contrast, but it's definitely getting shit dirty too. Which is exactly what we want. Again, this is sort of the bottom lip down here. Anything that we can see from this angle is pretty much pointless, to be honest. The other cool thing about this is it's going to mean I don't need to deal with getting in here and flat coating any of this. This stuff dries dead flat. See, I need to find a way to get a little bit of a finger hold. There we go. So a few minutes ago I stepped outside, and let me just preface by saying yesterday it was 80 degrees. It is currently 35 and it is snowing, which happens in Austin maybe once every 2 or 3 years. Now, it's not sticking, at least so far. Sticking to the cars and chairs and tables and things like that. But it was funny because typically when we get what we call snow here, it's usually more like sleet. Or sometimes in the spring we'll get these freak storms that turn into some really bad hail. But snow itself doesn't happen very much in Austin. So looking out and seeing these big ass puffy flakes of stuff falling out of the sky, and it's like clumpy snow. So it's like gangs of snowflakes falling, and like a big old ball of a dozen snowflakes just kind of poof landing on you. And it's quite a sight. But it means the garage is cold as fuck tonight too. Alright. There's that one. So yeah, this is a pretty simplistic weathering trick, I know, but again, in the right circumstances, it can be extremely useful. And as these parts dry, the one thing I've had to learn with this, particularly with this Mr. Weathering color, is you need to use it enough to figure out what it does and what it doesn't do and sort of how it performs, because it changes quite a bit as it dries. So in the bottle it has this very vibrant sandy color, at least this one does. Yeah, and it's literally called Sandy Wash. So there you go. But as it dries, that saturation fades out and the covering capability kind of goes away, and it goes a lot more transparent than you would expect. But it still creates this really nice, just kind of dusty, dirty look to things. And since I want these gear bays to be grungy, this is a good place to start. And hopefully this will set off some darker tones very well. And those darker tones won't be all over the place like this. They're going to be hopefully a little bit more targeted if I can control myself, which who knows. I still can't believe I broke that fucking drill bit. That was my 1mm bit too, and I think I've only got one of those, so. Time to place a new order. Okie doke. And a cool thing about this stippler is you can turn it, and it seems to do different things and kind of change how it behaves. So this one brush, just depending on hand placement, it feels like having like 5 different brushes that you can turn to. And I'm sure from the video it just looks like I'm stabbing this thing repeatedly. I can assure you that's not the case. Okay, so we've got those done with that shade. So let's see what they look like as they dry. There you go. See, this one is definitely showing some grunge, but it doesn't look like it's all smeared with shit like it does while it's still wet. It's more just an overall layer of dust and grime. Which is perfect for what we want. So now we get to move on to some other tones, and this is where we can have some real fun. So my other colors I've got for this are this grayish brown, which that's not grayish brown, that's just fucking brown. I don't think I'm gonna bring the white into play. It's probably a bit overkill. We've got the multi-black. And we've got a multi-gray. Multi-gray isn't going to do anything but just confuse the situation. So let's do a little bit of multi-brown in places. Oh shit, hold on. I forgot to do those tank things. Okay, I'm going to call that guy in a good place. Now let's get onto the brown. Actually, I did think of one place where I want to put some gray. That is on some of this piping and ducting. Thinking again about heat staining and general filth. Just trying to keep all that balanced. So the brown, we're not going to go anywhere near as heavy. See, just in a few spots. Alright, now we're going to put down some black. Trying to keep, again, super, super light on that brown because it's a mid-tone. What do midtones do? They pull down the contrast. Boo. Alright. So here you can see kind of how this is drying up, and it's got a nice griminess going on with it. Again, the black can look super stark when it first goes down, so it's one of those where it's still super important to kind of trust in the way that the process works and the way that the stuff dries. Okay, I've got another gear bay to do after this, so we're going to pause here because I'm looking at the camera. It's been going for 35 damn minutes. So I hope this has been informative, and we'll pick back up in a few seconds. Okay, so the gear bays are pretty much a wrap. This is good enough, I think, for what you will see, and for my remaining count of fucks. So let's go ahead and close them up. And to do that, what I'm first going to do is basically install the upper part of the bay and the fore and aft firewalls. So what I've done is I've just basically put these in where they need to go. There's another little notch in the front here where the forward firewall sits. And because these fit a lot more tightly than the side pieces, we can use them as basically a way to make sure everything is nice and aligned. There's that, and we'll go ahead and hit back here as well. Okay, that's one down. Let's go back to this first one. It should be good to pop out now. Woo! Okay, that's a nice, good fit. Another round of MEK. So that's looking pretty decent. All right, trying to do this, but I really need to be able to see right down it. So, okay, that one is in. Now we can go ahead and glue the actual parts here that lock it all in place. Just like that. We'll turn it over. Voila, we've got installed gear bays. Pretty cool.